Howdy, you're listening to Nobles in the Pinhead.
Yeah. Yo. What up? What up? What's happening? Welcome back, fantasy players, hustlers, and grinders. It is week 10. It's week 10?
Yes, it is.
Already, man. We wait so long for this damn season to start, man. And just like that, man, we're more than halfway through it, man. But lucky for you, knuckleheads, your favorite two podcasters are in the building tonight. That's right. Your boy, 8 Reggie Nobles.
AKA Fantasy Upset Specialist.
Ooh, I did get a big one last week, man. A much needed one. I've lost some I should have won, and won some I shouldn't have, but that's fantasy. And with me, as always, is the man that needs no introduction, my friend, your favorite, the Pinhead, AKA. Oh, man, I lost it there, man. Help me out with AKA here today, man. I'm sorry, bro.
Finest fella in Kernersville.
There it is. The El Cortez Nightmare. How you doing today, bro?
I'm good, man. I'm good.
Good, man.
Yeah, looking forward to another exciting week of football.
We had some good football. We didn't podcast yesterday. We both had other commitments, but we're here today on Friday, man, after that Thursday night beatdown that the Titans took from the Colts, man.
Yeah,
Old
Colts,
man Rivers is
Colts are
not losing
shaping up to
games.
be a pretty solid team. They still feel sort of second tier to some of the better teams in the AFC.
in the
but,
AFC, right?
But you know, they're starting to inch closer when they start making teams like the Titans look like second tier teams.
Yeah.
You know,
that
so
defense is just so strong.
yeah,
man.
they're pretty good, man.
You know, I
They're
think
solid.
what they were missing last year, man, was just the leader at the helm. You know, obviously what happened with Luck, man, and then bringing in Jacoby Brissett, he wasn't really their guy. They just need someone who's not going to lose games, and that's what Phillips has been doing, not losing games.
Yeah, they did let Brissett throw one pass, though. Did you see that? It was at the end of the half. They had to heave it to the end zone. I don't think Phillip could have got it there.
Yeah.
So they brought Brissett in to throw it, not to complete it at all.
It sucked to lose your job to a guy who's been in the league for like 20 years.
Yeah.
He's never won anything either.
No,
You know?
no success, really.
No, I mean, really. I mean, when you look at his career, he'll have like the Marino numbers. You know what I mean? Threw the ball all over the field, but it didn't matriculate to a championship. Not even an AFC championship. Has he ever played an AFC title guy?
I don't think so. No, and had all those years with a pretty solid defense and with LaDainian Tomlinson.
One of the best to ever do it.
Jeez, you would think he would have done better than he did, but he didn't. So he's okay. He's got 8 kids.
Well, yeah. Maybe one of them will win it.
Yeah, really.
That's the product of the Wolf Pack, baby.
There you go, man.
That's their guy, man.
Yeah.
That's their guy. I like it how state fans, we're jumping off all over the board, but claim Russell Wilson.
Yeah.
He didn't really claim them.
No. He
He
left them.
Yeah. T.O.B. Gave him an ultimatum. Do you remember that?
I don't remember.
Tom O'Brien, when he came.
Oh, yeah.
He gave him an ultimatum. It's either baseball or football. And he said, all right, I'll go to Wisconsin and do both.
Yeah.
And he went on to get fired.
I think he wanted to start Glennon, too.
Yeah.
For some reason.
Wow. All right, man. Well, let's hop into it, man. Tonight, man, we'll talk a little bit. I got a couple quick emails here. People looking for some advice from no one in Pinhead here. I will talk about last week's failures in fantasy and this week's studs and duds, and then we'll pick some games, man. So let's hop into it, man.
Let's roll on.
All right, man. I got one for you here. This was a short one, man. This came anonymous, but I think I know who this person is. I'm not sure. Nobles and Pinhead, help me out here, guys. I have a man I can't trust. He comes home late, he's very vague, and his phone rings late throughout the night. I know that he's cheating, and I feel that he's cheating so much that I'm not sure that the baby I'm carrying is his.
It probably is.
Well,
Unless you've been cheating.
I don't know what she's looking for here, man, but I don't know.
Yeah, that's not really how that works, as far as I can tell.
Maybe it's just that he's cheating so much, she feels that she has to cheat.
Well, if that's the case, then it may not be his. But that's purely her call. She should know whether there's a chance or not that it's someone else's. You know, it always kills me the people that go on Maury like 5 times and they bring like 3 guys each time, and they're like, "Oh, this is it for sure." Yeah, this is it for sure. Like, well, no.
Yeah, I actually know a couple women who've not been on Maury, but who have had children and raised them as somebody else's, only for them to find out. And they're teenagers, in their teen years, that's not their dad, their biological dad.
Holy moly, man! Yeah. What a thing to do to somebody,
right?
That's not right.
My advice here would be, stop sleeping around both of you guys, or open that thing up.
Yeah, or just find somebody else.
Well, yeah, that'll work too.
Stop
going through a dude's phone though.
But you got a baby on the way, and that's what you got to think of, regardless.
Yeah. I feel like anytime you feel like you can't trust someone, you probably shouldn't have them around.
Yeah, probably. Yeah. I agree with you.
Okay, I got another quick one here, man. Sorry, I just got a text message there. Nobles in the Pinhead. Quick question, guys. What can I do about all the sex, nudity, foul language, and violence on my DVR?
Stop recording that stuff.
Watch it, don't.
Right, all the sex and violence. Good God,
that sounds like all good stuff.
Yeah,
I wonder what's on his DVR.
Yeah, that is crazy. Yeah. I don't know. I know that they make these X-rated movies like with an all-male cast. They're just awful.
Yeah, I'm not even.
They're
seen
just
that.
terrible, man. They make thousands of them. They haven't had a good one yet. Every one I've ever seen, it's just all men, and they're like having sex with each other. It's terrible. It's awful. I haven't seen a good one yet.
So that shouldn't be on your DVR.
No, you probably shouldn't be watching that.
What channel is that on, man? Is it on basic cable? Is that the new Showtime?
Yeah. Careful what your DVR in there, man. I don't know. I think you could go with Full House reruns, The Waltons,
right.
Bonanza
There's tons of things to stream, right?
Yeah, pretty much anything.
That's how
man.
your DVR game up. Do you remember watching like Skinamax? As a kid, or trying to you making those little makeshift. I had a buddy that had a makeshift porn tape. It was all like hard. It was all like Skinamax. It wasn't like real porn.
Right.
It was like just boob scenes and like a lot of heavy petting and moaning, but no actual,
Right.
Those were the days. That's when we had VCRs and not DVRs.
Yeah, man. That's crazy.
And record.
I'm glad I grew up when I did. I would just hate to have a device in my pocket as a kid that could just pull up any
Christ,
vile
how do you get anything done
as
an adolescent male?
Yeah, I don't know, man. I'm glad I missed all that, dude. Truly.
Be a sexual deviant by the time you're 19.
Or totally desensitized to everything.
Just ruined it.
Yeah, just ruined everything, man.
Oh, man. Let's see if I got any more worth reading here.
All right. Those are pretty amazing questions.
Yeah, I got another one from a friend of the show who has suspected her husband of being fooling around. When she confronted him with evidence, he denied everything and said it'll never happen again.
He
denied everything and said it'll never happen again.
Ah.
Yeah, I like this fella. He's definitely somebody that listens to this show. So we would have someone that would do that.
Yeah, that's
You ever caught yourself up in a predicament like that where you just...
That's one of those deals where she kind of he tricked him into it, but he tricked himself, sort of.
Right.
It's like when
Played
the cops,
a Jedi mind trick on
like
himself.
when the cops ask you to say your alphabet backwards. All they want you to do is say, I couldn't do that if I was sober. And then you're in there. They don't expect you to really be able to do that.
Right. Be like, how do you do that? Yeah.
She just kind of lobbed it up, and he whiffed completely on it,
Yeah.
But if she's still asking the question, maybe she wasn't bright enough to pick up on the fact that he said it'll never happen again after totally denying it.
Mm-hmm. I say move on. He said it'll never happen again, so that would be my advice there, buddy.
I agree with you, man. I think that's a lost cause.
All right, man. That's all the emails I got. I got some other ones, man.
Deviants in the crowd, man.
Yeah.
Truly. Goodness.
I got another emailer here that says, she's a 23-year-old liberated woman who's been on the pill for 2 years. It's getting expensive, and I think my boyfriend should share half the cost. But I don't know him well enough to talk money.
Priorities, people. Priorities.
I love it. I love it. To use this app.
Yeah.
Well, again, I guess though, people feel like they can make it through anything if Magic did, right?
Yeah.
What's to be afraid of?
Yeah, and it set a bad example.
It really did, man.
It's like the people that get the coronavirus with the greatest health care in the world and tell you it's no big deal. Well, yeah, if I had the greatest doctors in the world treating me,
Sure.
I sadly don't. I'm in the land of Novant, man. You know what I'm saying? They might give me somebody
You don't
else's
trust
medicine.
Novant?
No, man. No, they messed my mama all up.
Oh,
dude.
man.
Yeah, it's totally just negligent shit, man. So yeah, I don't want to catch it. I'm not gonna believe in that.
Oh,
Not
man.
today.
Hold
Yeah,
on.
well,
one
okay.
sec.
Well, we got
let's move over to fantasy football.
Okay, yeah, let's do, man. Let's take a look at how we did last week in our league. We didn't differ on any games last week. We both were in agreement. We missed on the game between the two of us as you pulled a stunning upset, and we also missed.
Wasn't that stunning?
We also missed on. It was pretty stunning. We also missed on the Kraken, who we pick generally every week, and they never win. I think he's won 2 games all season, so 2 or 3. So yeah, I don't know why we pick him like we do, but
Well, his roster is pretty solid, man. I mean,
it just never happens.
it just don't ever work out for him. He blew the hell up on me though.
Yeah, so that's how that went. And then our picks from last week, we differed on 2 games in the NFL, and I got both of those right, as the Falcons beat the Broncos and the Giants beat the football team. We both missed on the Cardinals, who, if they had a kicker, didn't leave a 40-yard field goal short. It was unbelievable. They could have won that game. We missed on the Buccaneers, who just got pounded. And we missed on Seattle with a narrow loss to the Bills.
How did you feel about that game, man? Did you get a chance to watch that Monday night blowout?
Yeah, I watched it as much as I needed to.
Yeah, first half.
It was
After
over.
that, it was just check out. I mean, there was really nothing to see here. I flipped back and forth, you know what I mean, but never really caught myself engaged in the game. It wasn't the game we thought it was going to be.
No, it was.
Is it? The Bucks just don't perform on prime time because on prime time they average like 16 points a game. They play 4 prime time games. The rest of their games they're averaging like 34.
Yeah, it's hard to say, man. I'm not sure that the Bucks really know who they are exactly still yet. You know what I mean? I mean, it's there's so many new pieces and things. Anytime you get a new quarterback, and especially one like that, then there's a lot of growing pains. But I still think the Bucks are going to be something to deal with in the NFC playoffs.
Well, I do
But
too.
they just don't seem to have anything for the Saints. And Mike Thomas coming back helped the Saints a good
Maybe
bit, too.
Sean Payton just has that team's number.
Yeah, something. I don't know.
Because, I
what
mean,
it
that's
is,
the
but-
second time they beat them this year, and they've done it quite handedly.
Yeah, well, they, the Bucks may not have to play them in the playoffs, so who knows,
But that's one of the benefits of having like a veteran quarterback like a Tom Brady. He's faced so many teams so many times. I mean, even in a new system, he can offer a game plan against that team's defense because he's faced it enough. I think it would have worked better had he stayed in the AFC. I think Brady would probably be having an even better year if he would have found a team with the caliber of weapons that this one has,
Yeah. That team in the AFC's already got Pat Mahomes starting for them.
Facts.
Or Ben Roethlisberger, maybe.
Right.
They got a lot of weapons.
Right.
But that brought me this week to 11-3. You came in at 9-5, bringing me to 65-33 for the year, and you're at 63-35, and it marks the first time that I've been ahead this season in our picks. But we're both doing pretty good. We're both just right at getting 2 to every one that we miss, getting 2 correct to every one that we miss. So that's pretty good, I think.
Yeah, I'm not. There was some games last week that were coin toss to me. I mean, I wanted to pick. We talked about it extensively about picking the Dolphins, but can you pick the Dolphins? Things like that. But
That was a good game, though, man.
There was some really good games last week, man. How about my Panthers, man? They look pretty
They did
pretty
look
good.
good.
We'll be without McCaffrey this week.
Yeah, they did look good, man.
We also put Bonify and someone else on the reserve list, the sit-back list, every week, man. All right, well,
It's always something, isn't it?
Yeah, every week, man. It's been a different year, man, and we'll talk a little bit about fantasy, man. Right now, the 44s Pinhead are sitting at, where are we at, 4-5 going into this week, man. I mean, mathematically, this team has a chance to get in the playoffs, you think?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, you could still, if you lost another, you could potentially get in. You could still get to 8 wins if you lost another game. But 9 wins would definitely get you in. If you went out, you'll definitely be in.
Yeah, okay. Well,
So yeah, it's a tight race, man. It's tightening up considerably. We got some really important games this week. Let's break some of those down. What do you say? And
Let's
talk
do
about
it,
some
man.
fantasy stars here. First game we're going with is my K Vegas Gamblers against the Dawn of Destruction. The Gamblers now coming in at 5-4. The Dawn of Destruction at 6-3. This should be a really good matchup. It's projected to be very close.
it is.
The Gamblers are we're starting Kyler Murray at quarterback because why not? The kid's been unbelievably good lately. I mean, well, really all season.
He's what, like the fourth leading rusher in the league.
Something like that, and he's
He's got like
yeah.
almost 600 yards
he's
rushing.
throwing
700 runs
many times,
rushing.
throwing for over 300 with a couple more touchdowns. You know,
Yeah.
he's pretty good.
Yeah.
I'm gonna start James Conner, and right now I've got Latavius Murray in at running back as I have Todd Gurley on bye. David Johnson is injured. I've got Damian Harris, who's also injured but trending toward playing. If he does play for the Patriots on Sunday night against Baltimore, I'll probably play him unless the Patriots bring Sony Michel off the IR. That's something for you guys if you're a Harris owner that you might want to think about in case you have a situation kind of like mine. I'm going with my guys at wide receiver. I'm going to start Mike Thomas and DeAndre Hopkins, which is about the strength of my team. Rob Gronkowski, and then I've got the Chargers defense going against the Dolphins.
I would say this week, just keep an eye on Rob Gronkowski. They've been talking a lot about his shoulder here lately with all of the blocking they've been having him do. That team ran the ball for an NFL historic low 5 times, and the 5th was a kneel.
Yeah. Yeah,
That was.
They just forgot about the run and just completely forgot about what they were doing.
You can't
I think.
do that, man. But I mean, so obviously, like you said, you're in this matchup against Buffalo. Buffalo hadn't shown that they've got a great defense that we know them to do. I think Kyler Murray has you a 25-6-point game. James Conner is always going to be good for 10, right? He's going against Cincinnati, who is not horrible against the run, but I can see him having 60 and a touchdown. You know what I mean? Something like that. Latavius Murray, I mean, he gets his fair share of the ball. You said you were looking to start who opposed to him?
Potentially Damian Harris.
Okay.
No, it just depends on how that all works out. But
Yeah.
but if I have to leave Murray in, then I have to leave Murray in.
Yeah, I wouldn't really want to play a New England running back against Baltimore's defense right now. I just, at Baltimore, I wouldn't. I mean, I think Latavius Murray is your play there, personally speaking, regardless. That New England team, you just never know who you're going to get out there, man. Obviously, your Hopkins. I like Hopkins in a big way in this game, and I think he's going to have a 15-point game in most leagues, maybe 100 yards, a touchdown, something like that. We'll see what Mike Thomas can do, man. This will be the first time he's really going to be implementing a game plan. I think coming back last week, he's getting his game legs.
He was only in on 55% of the offensive snaps. So
Yeah, well, I think against San Francisco, they'll get him in early. He'll get on the board early. I can see him having a big game. San Francisco's pretty bad. I think there's going to be a lot of opportunities for the New Orleans Saints to make some moves there, and that speaks to why I would probably play Latavius Murray. Gronk, like I said, I don't love him this week, man. I like Goddard though that you have on your bench. I know he's not projected to have more points, but they're playing against the Giants. Division matchup. Those games have been fun. They've been tight. They've been tough, and usually the tight ends are involved when Wentz is throwing the ball. Man, let's look on the other side.
yeah, man, we go over and look at Dawn of Destruction. She's starting as always. Russell Wilson at quarterback. So you got Josh Jacobs and Duke Johnson at running back. Mike Evans and Terry McLaurin at receiver.
Oh, scary Terry.
Yeah, and what's the kid's name? The tight end for Washington, Thomas.
Oh, Logan.
Logan Thomas. Yeah, and then the Rams defense
Okay.
against Seattle.
Yeah, they've got her as a probability of beating you by 53%, man. Obviously you're going to play Russell Wilson every week. There's no reason to discuss that. I think that might be a hairier game for them, division game. Both of these teams need to win. Seattle just came off a loss last week, Anyway, it's a pretty tight division matchup, and I got to like Russell Wilson in there, maybe 24, 25 points. Josh Jacobs, if he's healthy, you're going to play him every week. He's going up against a Denver team that gives up a ton of yards on the ground. He can have a pretty good day, maybe 12, 13 points there. David Johnson? Duke Johnson. Okay, I'm sorry. Duke Johnson, is he getting a nod there this week?
Well, David Johnson's still out with a concussion. That's why my running backs are so weak.
Okay, so David Johnson has been officially ruled out.
No, he's not been officially ruled out, but he's trending that way.
Latest news was 3 hours ago. Yeah.
What'd they say?
They said David Johnson has officially been ruled out.
Okay, well, there you go.
Yeah. So, yeah, that's a pretty solid play. They're going to run the ball, and should be a pretty well-fought game there. Texans still have a chance to win their division, so I think they're kind of trending in the right direction. Be a good time for someone, looking for a quarterback like you got on the pine and make a move. I think it'd be a good time to have a Watson as upper.
His schedule is money.
It should be. After what the hell they had to go through this point,
It's absolutely fantastic the rest of the way.
Mike Evans, man, they're playing Carolina. That could be a bounce-back game. Carolina, you never know what you're going to see there. It could be a shootout, could be a blowout. I don't really know what to say there, man. I'm just confused about both of those teams. But as far as that matchup plays, I think Mike Evans has seen his defense enough to go out there and get you a solid 10. Detroit's just stand around in games but not win them, so McLaren has an opportunity to have a ton of targets, 10, 12 targets. That should produce, 7, 8 points.
He's such a deep threat,
Yeah.
and that is not at all what Alex Smith does.
Yeah, true that.
With a nasty injury to Kyle Allen.
Yeah. Yeah, that's right. Kyle Allen's done for the season. Man, that speaks volumes of this kid that they spent that top pick on last year.
Haskins.
Yeah. What do you do there, man? Do you trade the kid away?
You got to start him, I think.
You got to do something, right?
Yeah, I don't know. They're a mess.
God almighty. But, man, honestly, man, looking at these two teams on paper, man, talking about them out loud, I know they've got her seated as the favorite here by 53%, but I actually like your starts better. You've got just some better matchups in my opinion.
Well, I hope you're right, my man, but I'm picking Dawn. I'm going to pick against myself because picking myself hadn't worked.
He's throwing out the old juju.
Yeah, man, I'm trying to switch it around a little bit.
Oh, that's an old Nelly move. That's
but one thing that I like about this game is that after the 1 o'clock game, she'll have 3 players left, and after the 1 o'clock game, I'll have 7 players left. And sometimes those later games seem to, I don't know, get heated up a little bit. So maybe that'll play in my favor. But I just, with my running backs hurt like they are, I would like myself to win pretty steady if David Johnson were healthy. I think that would help me considerably, or if Todd Gurley wasn't on bye.
Sure.
But both those things are. So
I'm just expecting big production out of your receivers.
Yeah.
I'm seeing, somewhere around 35, 40 points coming out of those two positions alone.
Well, it could happen. I hope you're right, my man. All right, well, there's our picks there. We split on that one, and you can go down and look at the bench players for some fantasy relevance. On my bench, I've got Deshaun Watson going against Cleveland. He's a good start this week.
Yeah, and like I said, I think that's if there's someone in your league who has a Watson who's out of the playoffs and you're in a keeper league that doesn't keep many, or you're not in a non-keeper league, it'd be a good time to go after a player like this. I think, like we talked about, I think most teams are kind of strayed away from him in fantasy because of the schedule that they had. You know what I mean? There were better plays, it seems like. Yeah. Now we're on the back end of that.
He's consistently in the 30s now.
Yeah.
He's throwing up 30 burgers.
Yeah,
man.
Let's not forget who the kid was. I mean, they opened up against the Chiefs, the Steelers, the Ravens.
You took his best weapon away.
Right.
But he figured it out.
Yeah, no, they're playing good ball down there, man, and he's a baller cat. So definitely a money start this week.
My receivers, we've already gone over. Basically, David Johnson's out, and Damian Harris is. You might want to keep an eye on if you have any inkling of starting him. I've got Nelson Aguilar on the bench, along with Brandon Cooks, who both would be just decent starts this week. Not anything fantastic. We already talked about Dallas Goedert, who may end up making his way into my starting lineup as well. And then for the destruction, we look on the bench here. We see Nick Foles, who I probably would not start against Minnesota.
Yeah, I don't know if Nick Foles gets many starts after bye week.
Yeah, no, I mean
Not on this team or any other team.
And Matt Stafford, who is a better start than Foles, but I mean when you got Russell Wilson, you got Russell Wilson.
Sure.
Running backs on the bench, not a whole lot there. That's very exciting. Cam Akers may have a decent game against Seattle's Swiss cheese defense. Receiver, Cole Beasley, and what's the kid's name? I forget. It's not Dwayne Johnson. That's The Rock.
You talking about Deontay Johnson?
Deontay, yes. There's so many.
Yeah, I'm sorry. I had to switch back
names.
over here. Yeah. Oh, yeah. I know. I got
So
you.
I get
well, you
all
got
set.
David John. You got in this game alone between the two rosters, you got 3 D Johnsons.
Right. Yeah, right. It's hard. It's hard to know which. She does have Bobby Trees on the bench.
We like Bobby Trees. Yeah, that's a great play this week. You know, for most teams. I mean, again, I think
I probably wouldn't do it though.
I think that game. Well, we know the Seahawks defense isn't gonna stop anyone. You know, so I think he's a magnificent play, man. Maybe 12 to 15 points, man. That kid.
All right. Well, there's
We got that.
All right. So there's that game. You want to move on to the next one?
Absolutely.
All right. Bing.
Oh man.
Okay. The next game we have the Smithereens with Coach Josh Beck coming in at 2-6-1, going against the Juiciest Bruces of Cameron Miller coming in at 5-4. Okay. We've got for the Smithereens here. We've got Carson Wentz starting against the Giants. I don't like Carson Wentz as a fantasy player.
Nah, you know, I was really high on Wentz for a while. Matter of fact, last year I think I had him preseason to be the MVP of the league, man. But the kid keeps making the same mistakes, right? And at the end of the game, he always says the same thing. I got to do better.
Yeah.
I got to get better with this. Well, get fucking better with it.
Yeah.
Like, you've been saying it forever. Like, we know that you know. We know that you acknowledge you know.
Right.
Now just do it.
Yeah.
And he just doesn't.
It doesn't seem to get
No.
better, does it? All right, then we look down at Miles Sanders and James Robinson at running back. That's solid, too.
I like these young backs, man. That's going to make this team relevant for a couple years down the road. I like them this week. James Robinson would have fine this week. He's playing against Green Bay's defense, who's not that stingy. It should be a high-scoring game. Expect them to have, 12 to 13 points. That's what CBS has them at. Miles Sanders in that matchup, we talked about how physical this game has the potential of being. And in physical games, you always talk about this is game flow.
Right.
You're going to see some running here, So love Miles Sanders here for a solid 11, 12 points.
I think you're right, man. When we look down at the receivers, Tyler Boyd and Chris Godwin.
Two good guys.
Yeah, two good guys.
Seem like guys I would have dreams with,
Yeah, solid plays. He had tight end Jonnu Smith played last night and got him 7 points, and he's coming with the Buccaneers defense against the Panthers.
Yeah, I mean, I'm not down on Godwin as a player. I'm down on him based off of the type of injury that he had. He had that surgery on that finger. You saw last week they ran the ball 5 times. They didn't throw the ball many times his direction. And I think that's just because
a lot of mouths to feed, man.
Well, there's that, and I think I think he's on the field more as a decoy. He had 4 points last week against the Saints in what should have been a shootout, and they threw the ball 98.5% of the time of the game, right?
Right.
You know what I mean? So I don't think that he's a great play this week until we see he's healthy. I like Boyd in this matchup. I think playing against Pittsburgh is going to offer him some challenges. He's still going to get you, maybe 7-8 targets, and he'll catch most of them, maybe for 60 yards. Hopefully, you get him in the end zone once.
Right. That's what you're hoping for there. Mm-hmm. And now we flip the script over to the Juiciest Bruces with Alex Smith at quarterback.
Okay.
That's not good.
Well, he's got Patty
Pat
Mahomes,
Mahomes on a bye. Okay.
This is a game that he needs, though, right?
Yeah.
I mean, you can't. I mean, I know he's 5-4. You know,
He does need this game though, for sure. Because I'm 5-4 as well, and I beat him. So if I win and he loses, I basically got a 2-game lead on him for that fourth spot. Running backs are Jerick McKinnon and what's his name, Keenan Ballage.
Yeah, that was a solid pickup. I actually put in a claim for that guy. If you're having bye week blues like this team is, I think Ballage is going to have some success in this game. He's going to get opportunities like that player. You know, anywhere from 70 to 100 yards. I don't expect a big boom out of him, but consistent enough. They got a young quarterback. You got to run the ball with a young quarterback, right? So.
Seemingly, yes.
Pretty solid pickup there this week. I just don't know enough about San Francisco offense now to want to play anybody on it.
Yeah.
There's just so many players missing.
Yeah, so many people missing. So many, and there's at running back. There's so many players at that position.
Well, they ain't been running the ball well anyway.
Right. No,
so I'm a little afraid to play anything 49er or Dallas related right now.
I feel you on that, man. We look down at the receivers for the Bruces. We've got T. Higgins and DK Metcalf.
The baddest man in football, man. DK, he's a solid player every week. That kid's he's gonna do what he do, man. They got him projected to put up 12.5 points. I mean, and again in a division matchup like this, hell, he could throw up 20.
Sure. Higgins is a tougher play, I think, against Pittsburgh. It's kind of like what we were talking about with
on
Boyd.
the other side, right?
This game could well hinge on that. Which of those guys scores, which doesn't. That's kind of the deal. He's got T.J. Hawkinson on defense and or the Saints on defense. T.J. Hawkinson at tight end.
Well, let's look at I mean, based off the lineup that is in right now, my head is tilted towards the Smithereens. I think the Bruces have some potential here to play some more risky plays. I think Jerry Jeudy for the Broncos is a solid play. Came off a great week last week. That kid Locke is kind of looking like maybe he's figuring out. Denver's been scoring, right?
Yeah.
They've been scoring. And the kid is talented. I mean, he was a high pick in most deep dynasty leagues like this. I think this is a good week to play him against this division foe down in Vegas. I like that Gesicki kid. Excuse me. I like him every week at tight end. He and Hawkinson are about the same player. They're going to either do it or they don't, But he's been a little bit more consistent. Again, I think with a young quarterback, you would have some success there. And he's got David Montgomery here, and even though the Buffalo Bills hadn't been running the ball well with him,
With Singletary?
Yeah, Moss seems to be kind of their workhorse right now. That kid, Zach Moss. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And then we look over. I'm with you on this, man. I've got to think that the Smithereens could take a little advantage of all the bye week problems. The Bruces lean heavily on the Chiefs and the Falcons, and they're both off this week. So I'm with you on the pick there. When we look at the players on the bench for the Smithereens, he's got Tagovailoa at quarterback, who's I guess a decent start this week. Nothing fantastic, I don't believe, against the Rams, but who knows. He had Jonathan Taylor play last night and got 3 points. Chris Carson's still hurt for Seattle. Wayne Gallman's not a terrible start this week if you're having bye week blues and things like that.
No, he's not a bad start this week.
Adam Thielen is usually a decent play, as is DJ Moore.
And like I said, it's just roster sits, man. I mean, I would look at an adjustment on both sides. If I'm the Smithereens here, I would definitely try to. I would bitch Goodwin. I know he's the better player, but I would probably put in a DJ Moore or a sure Thielen, and that's probably who I would have in there. Go ahead and get my 8 to 10 points,
right?
And see how that works out.
Right, I agree with you. I think that's a steadier play. Even DJ Moore, I think, is probably a steadier play than Chris Godwin this week.
All right, so we both in agreement?
Absolutely, both on the Smithereen.
Wow.
Bing! Okay, now we're coming up against the
Okay.
Cape Fear Villains with Jason Kelly's team leading the league at 8-1.
That guy's good.
Going up against the Kernersville Kraken with Merchant Marine Alan Williams at 2-7, who we pick almost every week, and they won 2 games all year. Okay, when we look at the Villains first, we'll start with that. It's Josh Allen at quarterback against Arizona. That's a fairly solid play, I believe. Alvin Kamara and Antonio Gibson, both pretty good plays this week. I think Gibson have a decent day against Detroit.
Mm-hmm.
Devontae Adams is you just play every week, and Cooper Kupp is a solid starter. Tyler Higbee and the Titans defense, which played last night, gave up 430 yards and scored 1 point. So that's kind of a thing in the favor of the Kraken there. Defenses can sometimes hit decent points for us.
Sure.
So, but that's the league-leading Villains.
They don't do much wrong each week, huh?
They seem to win a lot, man. They do. Okay, and we move over and look at the Kraken, starting Jared Goff at quarterback against Seattle. That's been good for a lot of players. Kareem Hunt and Derrick Henry, who played last night. Henry went for 103 yards and a touchdown. And no, he didn't have a touchdown.
No, I was going to say just 103 yards.
Right. So there's that. So Kareem Hunt still left to go. DJ Chark and Justin Jefferson at receiver. That to me those are both pretty hit or miss.
Yeah, I mean he hit last week with Chark. Chark had an amazing week last week, but
They're both capable of that.
They are.
They just don't both do it
They
consistently.
really don't. Well, I think Justin Jefferson if he was in DJ Chark's tenure, he would be a more consistent player. I think he will be. I'm not sure that he is during this rookie campaign of his, right?
Right.
So I would look for more veteran leadership and wide receiver there. And then, better matchups. Jesus Christ, I mean, who's the quarterback for the Jags now? What's that kid's name? Luton or Luton? Yeah.
Yeah.
Who the fuck is he?
Yeah, I don't know, man. He's also got Noah Fant at tight end and the Patriots defense, which playing against Baltimore, I don't know. Seems like they might get lit up pretty good.
Yeah.
I saw a thing where Baltimore had this was their I think 31st consecutive game where they scored at least 20 points was this week, and that's the all-time longest streak in the history of the league.
Really?
So yeah, I don't think the Patriots hold them below 20.
No.
So there's that.
I mean, it's no contest here, man. No disrespect to the Kraken, but there's just too much power on the left side. I mean, you got some solid plays here. Kareem Hunt, I like that play this week. Jared Goff, not my favorite play, but I think I would definitely start him over Baker Mayfield, who we just don't trust on this show. I don't really see much else on this team to talk about.
No, there's not a whole lot going on the bench there for the Kraken, really at all. It's pretty devoid of talent.
Yeah.
He does have Ezekiel Elliott on the bye,
Right.
which usually Zeke Elliott and Derrick Henry, but you can sub in Kareem Hunt and feel pretty good about that.
Yeah.
One thing about this game, I feel like the Kraken has a home run shot with the you always have it with the defense because the defense hasn't played yet. If Baltimore would turn the ball over and they could score or run a kickback, that could be a big play in our league because with Jason being in the house with 1 point.
Sure.
On that. But
he still has so much big game potential out of Kamara and Devontae Adams alone.
And Gibson.
And Gibson too. But I mean, you look at just those two players.
Yeah, right.
I mean, they're right there. You could be looking at 50.
Yeah, it could
55. Be. I mean, Kamara's just had some amazing games here,
right.
And they're going up against San Francisco.
Yeah, that's true.
That dude can run bananas. Derrick Henry got held to 10, and that's the player you're like, okay, you're happy with a 10 from Derrick Henry, right?
Right.
But you're hoping for 15, 20. Right. You know what I mean?
Yeah, absolutely. When we look at the bench for the Villains, Mike Davis will be a good start this week against Tampa. As we saw them, they didn't look very good. Christian Kirk is a decent start this week, too, against Buffalo, who we alluded to their defense not being exactly all that good. Brandon Ayuk, while a talent, I don't know, man. There's a whole lot going on there.
Just like I said earlier, man, I think at this point, man, if you're trying to win, starting 49ers, Cowboys, you know what I mean? You're throwing hand grenades, man, and hoping you hit something.
I agree, man. So I think we're both on the villains in this one, bud.
Yeah.
Yeah, pretty solidly there. Bing! All right, now we're looking at the 5-3-1 Midway Maulers, owned by Jeremy Floyd, taking on the 6-3 Hastings Hill Hangover with owner Alan Norris. This is a big matchup here, 6-3 against 5-3-1. That's important for both teams.
Mm-hmm.
When we look at the Maulers, he's starting Justin Herbert at quarterback, which should be a decent start against Miami. Malcolm Brown from the Rams, which, yeesh, man, that guy's not guaranteed touches. Dalvin Cook, who is guaranteed touches.
That dude's had two back-to-back 40 burgers. I played against him in 2 consecutive weeks, and he's just
that makes me think this week is a touchdown and a little less than 100 yards.
I would have thought that last week. But,
well, I mean, 40. Yeah. You don't go 43 weeks in a row. Do you?
I mean, dude, there's talk that this kid is, offensive player of the year, know.
Yeah, he could be, but still.
And, I mean, some of the guys, sometimes, man, these guys have these just unreal seasons, and they do these things. And I think Minnesota's team is better than I gave them credit for at the beginning of the year. I think they kind of.
I think they're better than they were at the beginning of the year. I think we were pretty right on at first. They just got better.
Yeah, and I think they're the thing that they're doing is running the ball really well, and their offensive line is healthy. So I don't know if he has another 40 burger, but I like 20 out of them.
It could happen, man, for sure. We look at the receivers for the Maulers. We got Emmanuel Sanders and Jarvis Landry. Both better in name, I think, than in reality.
Say no more. No, I mean, you're talking about 2 5 to 7 point players right there. We love Jarvis Landry, right? We think he's a great role model, probably a hell of a guy. Would love to have a beer with him. I don't know if I'm excited about starting him this week. Same thing with Emmanuel Sanders. Now that Mike Thomas is back.
You got to think they're going to try to get Mike off at some point.
Well, Mike's going to get it off. You know what I mean? He's such a big receiver, big body. He knows the offense. He gets open well. Even when he's covered, he's open. He catches the ball. He's going to be involved in the game because Breeze trusts him.
Yeah.
So Sanders might pick up some garbage points.
Right.
But once I think that connection, that link, what was it, 144 last year? Once the team's back together.
Yeah. I'm hoping you're right there, man. We're looking at Jarrett Cook at tight end, and he's got the football team's defense going against the Lions this week.
That wasn't a bad play last week, was it? The football team.
No, football team's defense is not bad.
It's not been horrible.
Now, on the other side, for the hangovers, we got Ben Roethlisberger.
Big Ben.
He's on the COVID list. He didn't test positive, but because
he was
their
around
tight end
someone,
did,
yeah.
He tested again. I think is Friday, which would be today, and if he's clear, then he can play. So they can pull him off of that. So he's still got Roethlisberger in right now, which is good because his backup is Drew Lock, and you like Roethlisberger better than Lock every week, no matter who they're playing.
Sure.
Okay, at running back, we've got Zach Moss and Adam Jones. I mean, that's pretty strong in that we know that Moss is the back that they like there in Buffalo, and Jones is what he is, And going against Green Bay, Green Bay going against the Jags, I think you lean fairly heavily on the run game in that.
Mm-hmm.
Why go out and sling the ball all over the place? There's no real reason. We can just pound these guys and beat them.
Right. Well, we've seen in the last 3 weeks, Buffalo has really shifted to him. I mean, in his production, 6 points, 20 points, and then 10 last week. And I think he's good for another 10 this week. I mean, he's the guy there, and they're trending that way. And I'm liking him this week. Adam Jones is just, I don't know, a beast.
Yeah.
I mean,
he's in a really good spot.
Yeah.
That's what it is, man. I don't know that his talents equate to anything greater than
Aaron Jones, not Adam, I'm sorry.
Than any other back. You know, but he's in a great spot.
Sure, they're all talented young men, and
Absolutely.
you know, you got to be in that situation. And like you said, his is right. His is definitely right. He catches the ball really well too. That helps, you know.
Truly, man. We're looking down now at the Hangovers receivers, Keenan Allen and Juju Smith-Schuster.
I like those two names better than the other two teams' names, but not super duper excited about Juju. Keenan Allen has just been, you know, tearing it up.
Steady,
yeah, he's been just really solid. I mean, he's probably he's
got Mark Andrews,
your number
at
3
tight
wide
end.
receiver right now. So
Mark Andrews at tight end, and the Bills' defense rounds out that roster.
yeah, I mean, solid play with Mark Andrews. A must start every week. You know, count on him for 7 to 10 points. And leagues that score, you know, standard scoring, PPR, you know, he could be 13, 15-point tight end this week. Love Keenan Allen this week in that matchup. Think he'll put up about 14, 15 points. And Juju, I don't know, this should be a fun matchup because Cincinnati will allow teams to score. He had his first double-digit fantasy game since week 3 last week. I don't know if that continues this week. I expect about 7 points from Juju. But with all that said, man, I gotta like the Haston Hill team a little bit better. I mean, they're just stronger all over, really. I mean, outside of Dalvin Cook, who's kept his team in games the last 2 weeks. You know, I mean, if it hadn't been for his production, you look at last week, he had 40 points. And you know, if he throws up,
he beat me with it.
Right. So I mean, he puts up 20, which is what you expect like a beast player to do, right? I mean, you know, so whatever. With that said, no hate.
I like this to be a little closer if Roethlisberger doesn't pass that test.
Well,
you know, I think Drew Lock comes in and
definitely
I
changes.
think Justin Herbert, you know, has a sizable advantage there. I don't think there's much of an advantage either way. Maybe a slight advantage still to Herbert over Roethlisberger, but not by much. For that reason, man, I don't know. I'm going to play the contrarian because I just see that huge upside with Dalvin Cook. Herbert's been fantastic. I think he'll continue to be good against Miami. I'm going to go for the upset. I'm going to take the Maulers.
Okay.
There.
And I was just reading on Mike Tomlin indicated today that Ben will be coming off the list Saturday.
Oh, okay.
So,
Well, there you go.
you know.
So count him. He must have passed that test. All right. Bing. Okay, we're moving on now to the Forsyth County Fode Foes, owned by Mr. Nobles himself, coming in at 5-4, making a late season push, going up against the 3-6 Twizzle Twats, owned by Twyla Beck, who they've got as a 63% favorite here tonight, or right now. Okay, so we're looking at the Fode Foes. We got Lamar Jackson against New England. I think that's a solid start. You're going to have to do something at running back here.
I got it in a waiver claim. I'm waiting for the commission to push it through.
Right on. Well, LaMichael Perrine is on bye, so that is what it is. Ronald Jones is a decent start this week. You never know if they're not going to run the ball, he's not.
Well, that's. I mean, last week it was just horrible, and Fournette was in the passing game. So if they don't run the ball, which the Panthers have allowed teams to run on them, so I do expect them to have, you know, maybe.
So have the Saints, though, really.
Yeah, but they just didn't. They opted out.
Yeah.
They opted out on that.
Yeah, I don't think Carolina puts up that kind of point blitz on them to force them into just passing this week. I think you see a better week out of Jones. Certainly not that kind of blitz that the Saints put on them.
Well, the Panthers, you know, they did show how aggressive they were going to be moving forward in their offense, man. So, again, I'm still struggling with the identity of who they are. I know who they are defensively. I don't see Jones having a tremendous day. They're projecting them 9 points. I'm praying that I get that from them.
I hear you, man. I'm looking down at your receivers here, Tyler Lockett and Claypool. Yes, the young Claypool.
Yeah, I like him this week, man, and the fact that it's a rivalry game. They're going to try to keep this undefeated streak going, right? And the kid's just a monster on the field. He catches everything thrown to him. I think he's going to have a big week this week. They've got him projected at 9. I got him booming in about 18, but that's just
feel
the
you,
noble
man.
man's opinion.
I hear you, man. You're rounding out your roster with Darren Waller at tight end and the Ravens defense. So that's you're going to have to figure out what you do at running back. It's going to mean a lot for you.
Yeah, I got a waiver coming in. I mean, worst case scenario, we're plugging someone in. I was thinking about Naheem Hines. The only reason I didn't pick that player up is they were playing Thursday night. Boy, was I wrong. But you never know how those Thursday night matchups go. So
right,
every now and then you have one that was compelling as that one was.
That's true. Now we look across the aisle at the Twizzle Twats. We've got Drew Brees starting at quarterback against San Francisco, who's not very good. That smells like a good matchup to me.
That smells like a 30 burger.
It does, man. It really does. Leonard Fournette and was it Jerome Williams? Is that his name for Green Bay?
Jamal.
I have trouble with first name.
Old Molly Mall.
Well, you never know with Williams. He's not really guaranteed a whole lot of touches.
No, he had his day in the sun. Last week he had a pretty
It seems though
day.
The game flow would indicate, I think, that he's going to have a decent game in this. I think the Packers really try to run against the Jags.
Yeah, I mean they will.
Yeah, I would think so. And then we look at the receivers, Allen Robinson, who does something crazy every week, and Will Fuller, who has been really good too. He's been caught pretty much a deep touchdown every week.
Yeah, no, he's come into into that number one role. So I mean, he's been steady as hell. He's a top 5 receiver right now. I mean, it's a definite start, man, and I think he's got a favorable matchup.
I agree with you. We're looking at Evan Ingram at tight end and the Eagles defense.
He had a hell of a touchdown catch last week. Did you see that? Mm-hmm. Yeah, he's a monster, man. But he's only had one game over double digits. He's only had one game over 6 points. So they're throwing out a 5.8 projection, and I don't see it much higher than that myself.
Yeah, no, I agree with you, man. Seeing as with the uncertainty there at running back, man, and I think that Breeze has a good chance to outperform Jackson. I'm going to go with the Twats this week, man. Allen Robinson has an injury designation, but it seems as if he's probably going to play. She really needs him to go, as he's one of the better players that she's got. But
yeah, I hear you.
It's
I'm
close.
looking at big production running the ball at quarterback against this New England defense, and the Ravens defense having some success in picking some balls, as Cam has shown that he doesn't take care of it. I don't know if New England's gonna be able to run the ball this week. I'm hoping that they can get they can pin them back in red zone and get a pick 6 or something. So I'm expecting some points out of that matchup. I think her matchups are. I mean, her team is stronger, but I'm rooting for me. So
you going 44s?
Got to.
Gotcha,
we in a playoff hunt, baby.
Right,
we gotta have faith,
looking down
man.
at the bench here of the 44s, not a whole hell of a lot going on. The Fulgham kid from Philadelphia.
Yeah, I like that guy, man.
That's a pretty good start this week against the Giants. Mm-hmm. John Brown, if you're searching for something against Arizona, that might be a high-scoring game.
Mm-hmm. Gaskins is out for a couple more weeks. Devontae Freeman won't be on this roster much longer. I have Daniel Jones on my bench only because of that fiasco I had with Rivers.
Right, and then when we look over at the Twats bench, the only player worth mentioning, which is so sad because there's not a lot of talent here, but it's Teddy Bridgewater. And we just saw the Bucks get lit up, so I think Bridgewater's a decent start this week. I wouldn't start him over Breeze, but
well, she has been all season long, but I think that's if you were going to start him over Breeze, this would be the week. But I wouldn't start him over Breeze. You know what I mean? Like I wouldn't do it. I mean, I wouldn't have done it none this season. I don't tend to like to play matchup when it comes to a player like of his caliber with the weapons they have.
Nah, you got to know who your best player is and play him.
Yeah.
You know? But that being said, we're going to split on that game, my man.
All righty.
All right, but good luck to you.
Cool.
Ding. Okay, and the final matchup of the week, we've got the 4-5 Dega Bobo Dega, owned by Wes Huey, the commish, going up against the 3-6 Rob Zombies, two of the original teams, owned by Rob Sneeden. It's two original old guys, best friends. This will be a heated one as these teams hate each other. When we look at the Bodega starting lineup, we got Derek Carr, who's been pretty solid all season long. Really, he's not gotten some of the credit nationwide that he deserves, maybe, but he's a good start against Denver. And then we got at running back DJ Dallas and J.K. Dobbins.
Okay.
And it's not studly, but it's not bad.
No, I think Dobbins is going to be able to get some success in this game running.
Right.
They are not the team they were last year because Ingram's not the player he was last year. No disrespect. The guy's just been doing it, and out their year like he had last year. I don't think it was reasonable to think that he'd come back and do that again. I think Dobbins has about a 10-point showing this week.
Yeah, that could really happen. I agree. We look at the wide receivers, A.J. Brown and Darius Slayton. Brown played last night and got 2 points, 21 yards.
Brown's a guy that you're going to play every week, and, this is just one of those unfortunate things that happens,
Yeah, I agree, man. And Darius Slayton is a decent play. The Giants just aren't very good, so
Yeah.
it is what it is. He's still got looks like he's going to start H. Bryant, whoever the hell that is, the tight end from Cleveland, because right now he's got Travis Kelce, and he plays Kelce every week, and surely he's going to change that out.
Sure.
But I don't know anything about H. Bryant. He's projected for 3.7 points. I don't know. I don't think he's going to be your savior. And we got the Steelers defense against Cincinnati. If he's going to win this game, he's got to do it there. Yeah, he's got to have a defensive touchdown, maybe 2. I don't see a whole lot of other explosiveness on that side. Okay, we move over to Rob Zombies. Today's Rob's birthday.
Oh, man, what is it, about 60?
76.
Okay, I knew it was up there.
Yeah, he's 70.
Fuck, he's old.
He's been 76 for about 25 years. Since I've known him, we've told people he was 76. We've had people believe it, which, is sad for him. I think
that word's good when you're younger, right? When you're like your mid 40s and you say you're like 60, and
right.
women are like, God, you look great for your age.
I think Rob's 51, actually.
Yeah, I think so too.
Yeah,
I think he celebrated his 50th last year.
I think so. Yeah. Well, he's got Aaron Rodgers at quarterback.
Well, that's a great play this week, man. He's playing Jacksonville. No one's playing I shouldn't say no one. Aaron Rodgers is playing good football.
Yeah, absolutely. He really is, man. We look down at those running backs, Chase Edmonds and DeAndre Swift. Solid.
Yeah.
Those both young guys coming on and getting their role expanded in the offense, both of them. They seem to be on the same exact trajectory this season.
They do. I like Chase a little bit better because that offense, I like the position where he's at a lot better, right?
He can catch those little shovel pass touchdowns.
Right. Swift just is on a team that seems to struggle, and they're always playing catch up, and it just seems to kind of bite him in his ass.
They're the Detroit Lions.
Yeah. So I think he's a good player, but I don't know if I like this matchup this week. He's playing pretty good defense.
I agree with that. Stephon Diggs and Mike Williams.
I like Stephon Diggs a lot. What's not to like? He and Josh Allen have seen the hit a report. He's only had 2 games where he wasn't in double digits. I think he'll have a double-digit game this week.
Yeah, I agree with you on that, man. I think he could bounce back easily. Eric Ebron at tight end and the Vikings defense.
Well, I feel that if you're going to win this league here, you got to have a Tar Heel on your roster, and the Zombies have that. And Eric Ebron, who has been pretty decent as of late, man. He got in the end zone last week. He's got a very favorable last 2 weeks. He's got a very favorable matchup this week. I can see him putting up a double-digit game here. I like the Zombies for all purposes here. I will say that I know this is, if you look at the projection here, they don't really like Kirk Cousins this week, but I do against Chicago.
I hear you, man. I'm with you on that, man. I like the Zombies this week. The Zombies and the Kraken are having a similar year. Like, we pick them a lot, they win rarely.
Yeah.
It's just one of those things, man, where just what's on paper doesn't seem to translate.
Yeah.
I do like Kirk Cousins on the Bodega's bench. Giovanni Bernard is a decent start, especially while Joe Mixon is out. I don't see a whole lot else on that roster that I would want to start. Tom Brady is on the bench of the Zombies. He's a good start against Carolina. Real solid start. I agree with the start of Aaron Rodgers over him,
Sure.
but he is a solid play. Melvin Gordon could be a decent play against the Raiders this weekend.
Yeah. Yeah, this team doesn't really give Melvin Gordon a nod enough.
No, and he doesn't get the ball hardly at all for this team.
No, I mean it's funny when I played this team, he had him in his roster. I was week 4 and he put up 22 on me.
Right.
And I don't know that we've called the game since where he's been in there.
Yeah, I agree with you, man. It's not been that way. He does have Michael Pittman Jr., who played last night. He got him 101 yards
and a
21-yard rush for 12 points. That kid, I don't know, you remember his dad, Michael Pittman? He was a running back who played for the Cardinals. He looked like he had legs for arms. His arms were huge. He had just gigantic arms. They were almost as big as his legs. It was
You say he was a running back?
Uh-huh.
It rings a bell, man.
Yeah, it was that was way back in the day when we first started. But Michael Pittman, I always liked watching him just because he was just such a physical freak. He's and his son's similar. His son's a little bit taller and a little bit faster, but Pittman was just a scary looking dude. He just was I don't know, man. You wouldn't want to meet that guy in a dark alley, I don't think.
Oh, he did have some guns on him.
Oh God, I mean, it was insane. You got a picture of
yeah,
him?
I do. Yeah.
Let me see that.
Yeah, he finished up with the Bucks.
Yeah.
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 He had some guns on him, didn't he?
Did. But that would have been a nice play this week.
There's a picture, a really good picture of those pot guns.
Oh yeah, it didn't make. Yeah, it's like he had another arm on the back of his arm.
Yeah.
You know, like good God, fella.
Yeah, dude, is
so that
enormous.
guy's an impressive athlete. So I think we're both on the zombies this week, and I believe that about covers the fantasy relevance. So do you have anything to add on any of these players?
No, man. This is a do or die week for many teams, man. And if you're in that downswing, I think playing in a dynasty or a keeper league, right now is the time to try to make some moves. Get younger, build your team for next year. If you're facing out, if you're looking up at an uphill battle, you know what I mean. The probability of getting in this particular league we talk about, you only have 4 slots. And I think you're going to find that in most leagues 4 to 6.
Mm-hmm.
It's time to if you don't have 4+ wins, man, at this point, break that thing up.
Yeah, try to get young.
Yeah.
Try to get young and keep the 6 best players you can.
Right.
If you can spread it out, that'd be great. Like I always look at the Smithereens roster, and it's like he's got 4 running backs that he's gonna keep.
Mm-hmm.
But so that just leaves you basically you're turning your 6 keepers into 4 because you can't play those guys every
Right.
week. I would think he would want to spread it out, and in building a team, even I was wanting to offer him for one of his running backs, Deshaun Watson, and a pick. So you're building a team, then that's another attractive thing.
Sure.
If you can acquire some picks,
keeping over 3 is crazy to me.
Keeping 3's a lot.
3's a lot, but anything over 3 is crazy.
It doesn't make any sense.
It doesn't make any sense.
No, it really doesn't.
I mean,
3, we only start 2 running backs. So you got 3, you got your bye week guy. Depending on how the schedule falls out, it should fall out right for you. And keeping 4, you're just keeping a guy you're not going to play.
Well, if that's your scenario, I think that trade makes a lot of sense, man. I would rank that a very fair trade.
We've also seen when you look at these at the teams in the league and how they fared, the teams that are good all over. You look at the Kraken. He's got the best running backs you could want.
Right, but his receivers
and he
is
can't
DJ
win.
Chark and Justin Jefferson.
Right, he can't win. He's won 2 games all
Right.
season. And the Smithereens are similar. I think they've won 3 games.
Yeah. If you're not going to be strong all over, you're going to have one of those incredible runs from one of those incredible players. You know what I mean?
That just doesn't happen a lot.
It doesn't. It doesn't.
I mean, it can happen for a span.
It's not sustainable either.
Yeah, right. It's just not. You got to be pretty much well-rounded.
So you're looking at, a roster like that, you got 4 running backs, you trade one of them for a quarterback or a receiver, you keep 3, 2, and 1, right? And then next year, you can pretty much, if you're strong at your running backs and your receiver and your quarterback, you can get by with just an average tight end.
Right.
You know what I
and
mean?
the days, it used to be that if you were real strong at running back, then you were hard to beat.
Well,
because there were so many bell cow players, guys that got all the carries for their teams.
Yeah.
And now it's just not that way, man.
Well, I think it makes it, the way that this league scores is very important that you have a solid backfield. You know what I mean?
No, it is important, but it's not like it used to be years ago. Years ago, there wasn't running back by committee was the odd man out.
Sure.
Not the
Not the
flavor of the
norm.
day.
Sure.
Right. So it was a little bit more important. I mean, I was good every year. Made the playoffs almost every year with Edgerrin James and Fred Taylor. And that was just it. It didn't matter what I put around them too much.
Sure,
It was like,
sure.
these dudes were going to just pull the sled.
Right.
And it just doesn't happen like that. But if it did, the Kraken would be better and the Smithereens would be better.
Yeah.
It's just proof that, as I've seen over the years, how the scoring changes based on what the NFL teams do. Mm-hmm. So there we go, man. We got all 6 picks in. I've got Dawn to beat the Gamblers. You do not. You are on my side there. I appreciate that. We both were on the Smithereens. We both were on those villains, as usual. I took the Maulers to beat the Hangover, and you did not. And we switched on that. I couldn't stick with you this week, man. I think the Twats have better matchups. I know you went with yourself. And then we're both on the Zombies, so there you go, gang.
There it is.
All right. Well, now let's talk about some real football.
All right, we're going to take a quick 5-minute break here, and then we'll get right on it. And we are back, baby. Ready to? That's right. All right, man, let's talk about the NFL first off, man. We obviously didn't get to talk about the Colts and Tennessee game, but if we had, I would have brought to your attention did you last week where Rivers threw that pick? And his tackle attempt, did you see that?
Yeah.
Or he just...
Yeah, he turtled it.
Oh, my God.
He turtled it.
He should be ashamed of himself.
He was. Did you see him sit there like, oh, man.
They caught that on film,
Phillip
bro.
Rivers on a dead run is bad. Something not good's going to happen. Especially if he's running backwards. He's not a graceful athlete.
Not at all, man.
You know what he said after that? He said, dang.
Yeah.
Gosh dang.
Gosh dang. What a sweet fella. Maybe if he cursed more, they'd go into the playoffs or something. I don't know.
I bet he's mean. I bet he's mean to his kids and stuff. 'Cause he doesn't let any of that out. He just keeps it all in. And what if one kid cusses? He probably just loses it. Just loses his mind,
Yeah, I bet so, man. Phillip Rivers is a dick. Oh, okay. We don't like Phillip Rivers. No, I don't mind Phillip Rivers. He don't really bother me because he's not a winner.
Yeah, it's hard to hate somebody that never wins.
Right. I mean, yeah, he doesn't bother me at all. All right, man. Let's hold on one second. Let me pause this real quick, and we'll be right back. All right. Sorry about that, man. I had to take a quick phone call, man. Work never stops for the grinders like myself. All right, what we got, man? Let's talk about an exciting matchup at 1 o'clock where the footballers will be traveling to Detroit Rock City, baby. Both teams here are just playing for pride. Washington's 2-6. Detroit's 3-5. Let's see. I don't have the line on that game. Why not? Is it that bad? Is it a pick 'em? Huh.
I can see this game being a pickle.
Oh, the spread is off. Okay, well, I don't know if this is going to be exciting football here, man, but I do like Detroit's chances only because Washington has been, what are they starting, their third quarterback this season?
Yeah. There's not really a quarterback in the league I pull for more than Alex Smith. I mean, you got to really, it's just a story that is hard not to pull for.
No, he's a great guy, right?
But I don't foresee great things in this game. I like Detroit. Detroit has generally been able to score at a rate that the football team has not been able to do. Mm-hmm. And for that reason, I like Detroit. Now, could Washington's defense clamp them down and win the game? Of course.
Yeah.
Of course they could. I mean, Detroit's no juggernaut, but I just think they've been a little more consistent, and I like Detroit.
Okay. Well, I think we both can agree on that here. I'm trying to get my odds maker up here. All right.
All right. So we're both on those Lions this week.
Yes, sir.
Bing.
All right, man. Let's mosey over to the frozen tundra, where they'll be hosting the 1-7 Jaguars. Green Bay is 6-2. The Packers are a 13.5-point favorite. I don't have an over/under here.
That's an
51.
awful lot of points.
51.
13 and a half's a lot.
It's 2 touchdowns.
Yeah. The Jags were able to score some with with Jake Luton.
They screwed a lot of people last week, man, putting up points in against Houston. I don't think many people saw that coming, but this ain't Houston.
I don't think either one of us are going to pick the Jags.
Yeah, I don't know if I just don't know if they have enough firepower to score with these.
They shouldn't. The only way that they could win this game is to get up early and stay in it, try to stay in some kind of dogfight after that. Otherwise, I think Green Bay rolls.
Yeah, not much to see here.
No.
Yeah. Bing. I don't think you're going to get too much opposition in that game for most people. All right, a game that I have true interest in, the 6-3 Tampa Bay Buccaneers will be here in the Queen City, facing my beloved Carolina Football Panthers at 3-6. Man, I tell you one thing, man. The Bucs are a 6-point favorite. My boys really shocked me last week. What they did early against Kansas City, they actually had a chance to win that game. They was very aggressive. I think that they can be very aggressive this week. I'm going to take my Panthers to upset at home.
I am not.
Over/under is 49 points, 50.5. Sorry.
I'm going to take the Bucs. I think the Panthers look real good. They generally look real good when Christian McCaffrey plays.
Well, that's facts.
And he does not play this week.
He is not playing this week.
Tampa's been just much more consistent. This is not a game that would shock me if the Panthers were to pull off the win, as we saw the Bucs get blown out last week. But I've just seen more consistent play on both sides of the football from the Bucs at a higher level. I think the Panthers have been fairly consistent at what they've done throughout the season. They haven't come out and really put up a real stinker or come out another week and been just like world beaters. They've been consistent in what they do. I just think that Tampa has been similarly consistent, just at somewhat of a higher level.
Yeah, I mean, I think, I talked about the stat earlier, primetime games, Tampa Bay scores 16 points. They've played in 4 primetime games.
It's a 1 o'clock game, right?
This is a 1 o'clock game. So, with that said, though, I don't know if they've been, crazy consistent. I don't think they're a better team. I do believe they should win, but I've watched this matchup for years. I'm just going to go with the home team this week, man, for the Panthers to try to make the Bucs roll a little tougher.
I hear that, buddy. Sounds good.
I definitely like the Panthers, though, covering. I don't think – even if the Bucs win, I don't think this game gets out of hand.
I don't know. I don't know about that either, man. I think Carolina will play them pretty tough.
Yeah, man. They were super aggressive last week. Definitely helped that they had Christian McCaffrey, who looked phenomenal coming back. Did you see that hit? Mm-hmm. That hit that he took that sent them out. I knew it instantly. Mm-hmm. I knew it instantly. That was one of the biggest things going into the season. Biggest questions I had about that team. Once they kind of dismantled Cam and let Olsen go, I'm thinking, wow, is this kid going to touch the ball 20, 25 times a game? It's going to fucking kill him. As good as he is.
The answer is yes.
As good as he is. They're going to kill him.
Yeah.
He's just not big enough, And God Almighty, I love to see what the kid does on the field, but
they use him. The way that they use him is kind of like a Jerome Bettis. It's like just pounding him, man, through the middle and all that, and it's like, geez, man, why don't you let Davis do some of that
and get him out in space?
Right, let this kid make people miss and look silly.
Right, screens,
yes,
power sweeps, counters, not traps, not off tackle.
No, I like the play that made Adrian James great for me. Was that where the quarterback takes a snap under center and then just sprints to one side or the other and hands off outside the tackle. Mm-hmm. That stretch handoff. Mm-hmm. And I think that would be a great play for this kid because he get him outside the tackle where he's dealing with, a tackle on one side and then, a corner or something on the other.
Somebody he has a physical advantage against.
Right, and he's got a certain speed advantage over the tackle. So
Sure,
you know,
but you don't want to be bumping into those guys.
No, right.
You don't want him running into that wall.
No.
You know what I mean?
Right.
I think you're dead on it, man. I think he can hold his own against most cornerbacks, a few linebackers, but not many linemen.
Right, and you know, he can have success against anybody on the field. It's just he's apt to get hurt against those big guys. You know, I mean, he can do those things, but damn, don't
But
ask
for
him
how
to.
long?
Yeah, just
You
don't
know?
ask him to, man.
Yeah.
God Almighty.
Right.
But we'll see. All right. Well, so we're split on that one.
Yeah, I'm taking my boys.
All righty.
All righty.
Bing.
Okay, let's go to the city so nice they had to name it twice. The G-Men 2-7 will be hosting the Eagles, who are 3-4-1. They screwed me on that one. The Eagles are a 4-point favorite. This game, the over/under is 44.5 points. Again, man, God, the Giants team is a tough team to figure out,
Yeah, they are.
right? Like,
Yeah, they really are, man. It's some weeks they put up some points.
yeah,
And Philly is equally tough to figure out.
yeah.
That whole division is, like we said, it's terrible. None of the teams are good, but it's produced some really close and fairly fun to watch football games.
Yeah.
Just because the teams are tightly matched.
Yeah, you gotta like the favorite though in this thing, though, huh?
Like Philly.
You got to, right?
Well, I don't know.
I mean, I you know, the line indicates that it's going to be less than a touchdown away, right? So, I mean, that's to your argument that this game could shift for either one. It's going to be
I'm not
closely
willing to
fought.
take that risk, though,
But-
man. I'm with you on the Eagles.
You
on
know,
this one.
yeah, we talked about wins and struggles, but I just think Giants just have too many unanswered questions, man, on offense to be competitive enough to win this game or at least finish it out. I think that's where they really struggle. So
I think I would take the Giants if the game was in New York.
they are in New York.
Oh, they are in New York?
They are in New York.
Oh,
There you go. There's your door.
I'll do it.
Uh-oh. We got a home team. Switcheroony.
All right, so we split on the Giants and the Eagles. Okay. I like
All
that.
right.
That's interesting. Bing.
All right. Let's mosey on over to Ohio, where the Browns 5-3 will be hosting the 2-6 Houston Texans, whose record isn't as bad as whose team isn't as bad as their record indicates. Browns are a 3.5-point favorite. Over under is 46 points, man. There's going to be a ton of wind, though. I understand that there is a weather alert, so the winds were going to be ridiculous here, making the team with the better ground attack probably the safer bet here. So with that said, I didn't know that. I just saw that stat pop up here. I think Cleveland is going to be able to run the ball better, and they're at home, so I definitely like Cleveland in this game.
Yeah, I think the X factor in this game, if there is going to be, if the passing game is going to be negated somewhat by high winds,
And possible
then I
rain.
think that if it's that bad to where neither team can really pass, then I think the running games become about the exact same thing. I don't think you have that much. If it's Kareem Hunt against Duke Johnson, that's one thing. But if it's Kareem Hunt and Baker Mayfield against Duke Johnson and Watson,
So the combination of the
the
two.
fact that because the quarterback's going to be running a good bit,
Deshaun Watson is the better runner on his team,
Right,
as Kareem Hunt is the best. I got you.
I think that would sort of even it up.
Right.
I could see, and the Browns are still the Browns.
God, they are.
It's still the factory of sadness.
Yeah.
And Houston, I think, is feeling a little better about themselves. You remember when I was picking happy teams?
Sure, you think Houston's happy?
No, I don't. I don't really think of that.
Are they happy? Is anybody happy in Cleveland?
No.
And just anybody happy in Ohio?
Yeah.
I worked in a Browns bar in Charlotte. When I told people that, they couldn't believe it. In Charlotte, Strike City, which is in the epicenter, it's a bowling city, outside of Ohio State, is the biggest gathering of Ohio State fans. Because nobody wants to live in Ohio. So there's so freaking many of them in Charlotte. I think they had at one point like 600 people that were showing up for games in a bar.
Ohio, man, I've had some weird times there. It's not my favorite. There was a lady when I was bartending. The lady would come in, and she was from Ohio, and she Cleveland, the Cleveland area, and she was going back home to visit some of her family there, and she said, "Is there anything you'd like me to pick you up while I'm there?" And I thought to myself, what in the hell do they have in Cleveland that we don't have here?
What'd she come up with?
I asked her, I was like, well, like what? She's like, I don't know, like some vegetables or something. I'm like, we got vegetables. What are you talking about, you know? Yeah, this is the same lady who told me that growing up in Ohio, she mostly did freshwater fishing.
Mostly?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. You know, funny enough, man, a guy that lives in this neighborhood, really nice fella, dude. This summer, he went to Ohio. That's where his family lives. And he came back, and, you know, there's a real sense of community here come the summertime, specifically down at the pool. People grill out, and it's just like you know, just they'll feed everybody, you know. So he comes down with this big cooler, and he's like, yeah, man, I brought some stuff back from Ohio. And he opens it up, and it's freaking corn. It's just corn. And he grills it, and he's like, man, you want some corn? I was like, sure. I mean, I like corn. Yeah. He's like, yeah, it's from Ohio. It tastes like the same corn we have in Harris Teeter.
Because it is.
It's just corn.
It's corn. Yeah, that's what I didn't know what she wanted. Like, I damn sure don't want that Skyline chili they got there.
God, that's horrible.
God almighty.
Well, yeah, I think what fucks it up is they call it chili. If they called it something else, I don't know if it is bad.
To me, it's the chocolate. I can taste that.
You can taste it? Is that strong to you?
Yeah. Yeah, I don't like it at all. I remember the first time I went there, it was with a gal, and she told me, she grew up there, and she told me that, you got to try the Skyline chili. You got to try this. And I said, well, what is it, you know? And she said, well, it's noodles with cheddar cheese and chili. I was like, I'm okay. Yeah, that sounds all right. I don't see what's wrong with that. So I go and I get a plate of this, and the very first bite, it was like, my God, that's not chili.
It's not
chili. You know, I don't know what that is. It literally is made with chocolate in it, and the boss man at the tavern, when he cooks different food from different teams, whenever we play Cincinnati, he makes that, and it's awful. He nails it. It tastes just like it to me. No, I told him that.
It's god awful. So you're spot on.
Well, but I remember the taste. It's one of those weird tastes, and as soon as I bit into it, I was like, dude, that's exactly what it tastes like. Yeah, I don't like it. He doesn't like it either.
No,
all right. So
no, I don't like it either. I think though, if they called it something else outside of chili, it might help it.
Yeah, it might.
It just might help it a little bit. Because it damn sure ain't chili.
Meat sauce. I don't know. Something. Okay, man, I made my mind up here.
What you got?
In a blustery game, I'm going with the Browns.
You're going with the Browns?
Yeah. So we're both on them Browns.
All right. All righty.
Bing.
All righty. Let's see. So let's go to Arizona, where Buffalo will be coming in. Buffalo is 7-2. Arizona is 5-3. The Cardinals are a 2.5-point favorite. Over under is 56.5 points. This is a 4:00 game.
I think this would be a good watch.
I think so.
I think this would be a good watch, man. I'm all on Kyler Murray this week, man. Well, I liked what I saw in his face when they lost that game last week, when the field goal was short. He just sat over the side and was stewing. And I like that a lot. You know, he did everything he could do to win that damn football game. You can't make a 48-yard field goal and leave it short. That's pretty pitiful in the NFL. I mean, that's pretty weak, man. I think he's going to bounce back. I like Murray to have a good game this week. I think he'll find Nuke. I don't know. I really like them this week. Buffalo's solid. Both of these teams are kind of similar. I think Buffalo may be a little bit better on defense. I think Arizona may be a little bit better on offense.
And I agree with that statement a lot. I think Buffalo's not going to be able to stop Kyler Murray and DeAndre Hopkins. I just don't think so. However, their defense is good, but they can be scored on. You know what I mean?
Right.
And I like the 7-2 Buffalo Bills in the fact that based off of what I saw last week from the young Kingsbury coach, I just don't know if I trust him late in the game. I like Buffalo to finish it.
Well, they passed the precursor test, the pre-SAT last week as far as dealing with a quarterback like that. I mean, and don't get me wrong, folks. I'm not here saying that Kyler Murray is a better quarterback than Russell Wilson is yet. But when they take to running, he is. He is better. He is considerably better. Did you see after that game last week, when they were talking to Tua at his press conference, and he was talking about Murray, he was like, man, that guy's fast.
He is
fast. And he said, do you think he's faster than you? And he just started laughing. He was like, yeah. He goes, yeah, he's a lot faster than me. It was just funny.
You don't think that either? Like,
right. Well,
I thought we all thought that.
Yeah, you think that was going to be my opening statement was that guy's fast. But I'm faster. No, it was. Yeah, he was like, no, he's totally faster than me. He just presents all manner of problems. That one escape play he had last week where he just ran and just stopped and let that guy fall on his face and then bounced around.
No, he's a monster, man.
Yeah, it's fun.
I will tell you this, though. Tua impressed me last week in that game. He had some pretty nice runs, man.
Yeah.
But, yeah, I don't think Buffalo will be able to shut him down. So, for fantasy purposes, which is your purposes really here, I think you're going to like what he does. I just don't like the team to finish the game.
I got you, man. Good. Well, we're gonna split on that. So far, we're 3-3. Okay. We've split on 3 and agreed on 3.
Awesome.
All right. Bing.
All righty. So speaking of Tua and his Dolphins, who are 5-3, they are a 1.5 point favorite at home while they'll be hosting the LA Lightning Bolts. The over/under in that game is 48.5 points, man. Excuse me. What you think about this game here, boss?
Well, for some reason, I think maybe I've elevated the Chargers to a place in my mind that they're not. You know what I mean? They just don't win football games.
They find a way to lose them every week.
They do. If it weren't for the historic pissing away of games that the Falcons have been doing, that would be a big story. Because they've really pissed away a lot of leads. Miami, I think, is a happy team right now.
Oh, they are happy.
I'm going with the Dolphins on this one. I don't pick Miami very often, but I've picked the Chargers too much. They really haven't come through for me in games that I thought they'd win. They've been in a lot of games. I think they'll be in this game. It's kind of similar maybe to the reason that you picked Buffalo to beat the Cardinals. They just don't trust the Cardinals to close out. I don't trust the Chargers to close out, and I'm gonna go with Miami.
Yeah, I'm gonna agree with you, man. For all purpose here, though, I do think that this game will be fun. You got something historic going on with this Justin Herbert guy. He's on pace to throw almost 5,000 yards, 39 touchdowns, right? So he's definitely making some things happen. I do think he'll be facing up against a defense that can cause problems, that can confuse him. So I can see him making a couple mistakes. I can see some sacks happening there. And then on the other side, you've got Miami's young quarterback who's on a 2-game winning streak.
Right. He's never tasted defeat.
And he's right, and I mean, there's something to be said about winning, man. It cures all, right? And like you said, that's a happy team right now. I just don't think at home they're going to drop the ball against this team. Now, it's going to be a pretty close game as the line suggests, but I like the Dolphins all day long in this game.
We're on the same boat.
All righty.
Bing.
Okay, man. We got a ton of 4 o'clock games this week, man. That's pretty cool. Shitty that, your TV provider is only going to let you watch one, but God, that's kind of horrible. Anyway, we got another division rival here. We got the Las Vegas Raiders, 5-3, hosting the 3-5 Broncos, where the Raiders are a 3.5 point favorite. The over/under is 50.5 points there. Derek Carr, man, he's not like unstoppable, or he hadn't had a great.
He's a good solid quarterback who's fairly easy to game plan for.
But he
doesn't throw a lot of wrinkles, but he's good.
He seems to be good enough to win.
If you can protect him, And then giving, he's not the kind of guy that's going to make things happen on his own.
No.
But if you protect him, yeah.
He's okay.
And they're better than I've given them credit for. And the Broncos may be a little bit better than I've given them credit for, but I don't think that much, man. I like the Raiders in this ball game. I think they have a better running attack with Jacobs than what the Broncos have. I think they have a better passing attack than what the Broncos have. And defensively, I think both teams are on a par. Yeah. They're real similar. I think they're both like slightly below average defenses.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and I agree 100%. I like the Raiders in this. And one thing, like you to add to what you were saying there, is I don't think I've given John Gruden enough respect this year. We rode his ass the last couple seasons here, right? And he finally actually looks like a pretty good play caller, man. He finally got that offense. They're humming. I mean, they're averaging 30 points a game. I mean, they're not a horrible offensive team. Their defense isn't crazy good, but they're not playing a juggernaut in Denver this week. I know Drew Lock can sling the damn thing all over the field, but I just don't know that they'll be able to do it.
That's a lot riskier than I can hand off to Josh Jacobs.
It is.
And
that's what it boils down to.
Right. I can see the Broncos really hitting on all cylinders and winning this game, but it's really hard to pick that.
Yeah.
All right, we're both on those Raiders.
Word.
Bing.
All right. So we got the 49ers, who are 4-5, going down to NOLA to face off the 6-2 New Orleans Saints. The over-under is 49 points. New Orleans a 10-point home favorite. This game feels like 10 points might not be enough.
It does, doesn't it?
I mean, am I missing something here? San Francisco is still missing 10 offensive players, correct?
I'm not sure the number. They're significantly held back. This seems like
nobody on their offense played in the playoffs last year.
Yeah. You just got to hope the Saints, they've still got to take it seriously. That's the thing. After you just come back and just whip the team that everybody says is the best team in the NFC, and you beat them just like a dog. Mm-hmm. This team still represented that conference in the Super Bowl last year. So you gotta strap it up and go with it. That will be my concern. Other than that, the reason that's my concern is we've seen the Saints come out and lay eggs. Generally, once a year, they have a game where they just look awful. But then the next week they're fine, and the weeks before that they were good. I think it would take that kind of week, though. Yeah. I think the Saints are a lot stronger right now. They seem to be rounding the form, getting healthier, whereas the 49ers are going the other way.
Yeah, no, and the 49ers are the most injured team in football right now. They're missing 10 offensive players. They don't have a starter on their offense who did represent that team in the NFC Championship last year. And they are going to, we can say, disciplined Sean Payton team. We can say a lot of things about New Orleans. Sean Payton keeps that team pretty well disciplined, man. And it looks like I think they're about to go on a run. What they did last week with Tampa Bay really showed America, like, when the light comes on, the Saints can be bright.
It smells like they're going on a run, doesn't it?
Yeah, I think they can throw up, God, this should be a great game to have. Breeze, Mike Thomas, Kamara, and, I think they're going to run wild, man. They might throw up 45 points.
I even feel good about Latavius Murray.
Sure.
Game flow could be everything in this.
It's going to be, I mean.
Latavius Murray could score twice in the second half.
He could.
I mean, we'll see how it goes, but yeah, we're both solid on this one, gang.
Yeah, after this week, any doubt or any concern you had about having Mike Thomas? I know that's not really been a concern, but if you've had him on your roster forever and got a chance to play him, I think after this week, all doubt will be gone, and then we'll see just massive production. They're going to tune up on this team. They're going to tune up on this team, man.
You're my good buddy.
They're going to tinker with some stuff here. You like that?
Yes, man. That's all I've waited for all year. I came into this year thinking, like, okay, I might not be the best team in the league. I knew I wasn't. But if I could get some resurgent play out of Todd Gurley, and James Conner has a decent year, which I've gotten that.
You have.
Out of Gurley. I need Kyler Murray to take a step forward. He has. And then the big thing that I thought going in was like, okay, I'm good at receiver. I can start Hopkins and Thomas every week and beat the shit out of people, you know, and I haven't been able to start them, you know. I mean, and it's been that way for the last couple of years that I've had them. If one guy's out and I've got the other guy in, it just seems like that dude, for some reason, knows he's the only one, and he'll throw up 25. You know, and
I got you, coach.
right, and then but then when they're both in there, it's like one guy will get 12, the other will get 18, or one guy will get 8, another guy will get 22. It's just like it's always money for me, you know. And to not have it's been really, really frustrating. So I hope you're right, man. That gives me all kind of like hope. I really want to see Thomas is so fun to watch. Just get off the line and just slap people around.
He's a big bully out there, man.
That's what they call him.
And, you know, this San Francisco defense is beat up. There's still no Bosa, right? There's no Bosa.
Not yet.
And, I mean, but that was, I mean, the strength of their defense,
Well,
man.
that was the reason I picked them in our fantasy league.
Right.
Remember at draft day, I was like, they got a Bosa.
You got a Bosa.
Right.
You can get a run.
Right.
I mean, and, you know, when the kids on the field, they're getting sacks. They're creating pressure, which, you know, for a lot of quarterbacks in that division, you know, young quarterbacks, make mistakes, man. We just think really being able to see that out of the 49ers, man. They're going to get dusted this week. Bet the farm on them.
Word.
All righty.
Bing.
Okay, man. The Seattle Super Seahawks. Yeah, I don't know where that came from, but Seattle is 6-2. Will be at the Rams 5-3 at that magnificent stadium. Rams are a 2-point favorite at home, and the over/under is 54.5 points. This is a huge matchup, man, in the NFC West here at Pinhead.
Yeah, it really is, man.
I mean, you look at these two teams; they're very tight in win and loss column. That division is pretty tight. I mean, without San Francisco there, but I mean, you got Arizona sitting at 5-3 as well. So you know, this game could go either way.
Right, Arizona is only, I guess, a half game back of Seattle because they beat Seattle. Mm-hmm. You know, so that's a big deal. This is a huge game for the seeding. The NFL keeps talking about adding more and more teams to the playoffs, so we might get the whole NFC West in.
Well, yeah, minus the 49ers.
Oh yeah, minus. But yeah, I think this is a tough game to call, man. I'm gonna go with Russell Wilson and the gang to bounce back a little bit this week. I hope not, because that's the guy I'm going against, the main guy going to beat me this week. And the Rams have a way of confounding people at times. It's not like the Rams haven't beaten the Seahawks. They have. You know, they were just in the Super Bowl 2 seasons ago. And again, you're Russell Wilson, you got to believe, is going to feel Aaron Donald. Yeah. And that's a thing, you know. I mean, you just hope that he don't feel him on his ankle like Dak Prescott felt that. Or like Kyle Allen last week. It's one every week, but I mean, you're a 300-pound, 280-pound man
running downhill at you
is going to hit you this week.
Yeah,
he's going to. You know, whether he sacks him or not, he's going to hit you.
Yeah,
and he probably sack you.
Yeah, Russell Wilson isn't immune to taking sacks. You know, no. I think I do. I'm going to bet on Russell Wilson here, just because everything that you said. I do think they're going to bounce back. They lost against Buffalo, and they had to travel to Buffalo. I think given in a scenario where they were playing Buffalo, let's say in the Super Bowl, which are a neutral spot, given a bye week or something like that travel didn't affect them. I don't know if Buffalo dismantles them like that.
Well, they've got a massive ass travel this week too. I mean, the only thing is they stay in the same time
zone.
Yeah,
I mean,
you're going from the top of the country to the bottom.
Sure.
You know, it's a massive ass travel for those guys. That's a thing that West Coast teams, Midwest and West Coast teams have.
What do you think the flight from Seattle to LA is?
Oh, it's a ways, man. I don't know.
What do you think, about 5-hour flight, 4-hour flight?
I don't know, but I will find out.
Yeah. Well, while you look into that, man, I don't know, man. I don't know if I'm trusting McVay at this point right now. Offense just looks a little too much hit or miss, and he's supposed to be this offensive genius. They've struggled running the ball. Jared Goff, I mean, he hadn't been horrible as an NFL quarterback. He's not been a great fantasy guy. You know, he does just enough not to lose the game. It's their defense that's winning them the game by creating field position. But I think Russell Wilson and his crew is just too good. I just like the playmakers. DK Metcalf.
Yeah, I do too. Man.
Tyler Lockett. I mean, at one point, at some time, they're going to get even healthier at running back with Chris Carson when he gets back in there. So, for all those reasons, I like the Super Seahawks.
Me too, man. And the travel isn't that bad, just around 3 hours.
3 hours? Okay.
Bing!
He said, it ain't that bad. Meanwhile, on Sunday, we'll be on the couch. Cincinnati, 2-5-1, them fuckers. At the Steelers, the 8 undefeated Steelers, man. How about that, man? The Steelers have never been 8-0. Isn't that hard to believe?
Yeah, well, I mean, I just didn't, I don't know how hard it is to believe. It's not that hard to believe for me, from what I've seen in my lifetime and when I think back about it, but I grew up with the myth of the 70s Steelers. I was born in 74, so I wasn't really cognizant of the NFL until maybe 79. I knew all the NFL teams about when I was 2. I could pick them out by the helmet, but but I just grew up with all that story about, they won 4 Super Bowls. They were just dominant. It's just this badass bunch. So in that way, it sort of surprises me.
But I don't know if I don't believe it. It just surprises me. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Yeah, and I'm right there with you. And you think of these Jack Lambert teams, these
Mean Joe Green.
Mean Joe, yeah, right. These they didn't get 8-0.
Mean Joe Green threw that shirt at that kid, and that when the kid got the Coca-Cola. Yeah, and I remember thinking when I was a kid, like, if that man threw a shirt at me, it would terrify me. Even though it's his game jersey, it's a gift. He's being a nice man.
Why is he throwing that at me? That big ass sweaty shirt.
Well,
Get it away.
He accepted my Coke. I offered him a Coke, and then he took a sip, and then he walked off, and hey, kid. And then he throws his jersey to him.
You've been petrified.
Yeah, he's just a scary dude, It was like, I don't know. For me, I guess it was like a kid that age first seeing like Kimbo Slice or somebody. Just like, he was a scary dude.
Yeah, he was a big man.
Yeah, he was a huge guy, man. Yeah, if he wanted to wreck Shop, then Shop was getting wrecked.
Yeah, like 6'6", 6'5",
something like that. You in the
that.
NFL and your nickname is Mean.
Yeah.
Like, dude, yeah.
Yeah. That was a different day, though. That's when football was football.
It was mean.
And, don't get me wrong. We can't play football like that, right? We didn't know better then. But you can't do that to people.
Right.
It's not right.
No.
But that's when, you can knock a motherfucker out his cleats.
Oh, yeah.
You can sickle a son of a bitch running across the middle.
Oh, yeah.
You led with your head.
Some of that stuff in the 60s where you still could, like clothesline guys.
Yeah.
Now, that was gone by the 70s.
Right.
But that didn't mean that they didn't do it in the 70s. It just was a slightly larger penalty.
Yeah.
You might have to pay a couple $100.
Right.
Right. But there was a guy, a safety from the Redskins. I can't remember the fucking name. It's killing me, man. I'm not real bright. But that was his thing.
Not Ronnie Lott, are you thinking of?
No. This was from the 60s.
The Redskins. I thought, for whatever reason, I was thinking.
No, this is from the 60s. Ronnie Lott was in the 80s.
Yeah, I was thinking.
But this
49ers.
guy would just clothesline people, and they'd cut flips, and land on their head and shit. It was insane. It was like his thing. And at one point, he had a broken arm, and he's doing it with a cast.
Right.
Like, jeez, man.
Why y'all letting this dude do this? That's in the rule book. But it was just a different day, man.
Really?
So, anyway, man, it's crazy that the Steelers are balling out of control. I don't think things get that harder for them this week. The spread is off on this game. Let me look at another site here. Do. Okay, I got a 7-point here. CBS has the spread off, but I found 7 points and 45.5 over under, man. This game is going to be, I don't think this game is going to be any contest, man. I think the Steelers are going to roll pretty easy here. They're just tough. I don't get no disrespect to the Bengals, man. I like what this young franchise is doing, man, with young Burrow. They've been running the ball really good the last few weeks, but they're playing a defense like no other. Ben to be there. I like the Steelers, and I like the 7 points. I definitely think they're a touchdown better than in this game.
Yeah, I agree with you, man. They're doesn't seem like Cincinnati's grown up enough to beat them, does it?
No, what we saw what Cincinnati did against Baltimore's defense, right? They scored 3 points. It was, field goal. It was late in the game. It was just not to get shut out.
Right. And when we're looking at the league still, there's still a fairly clear 3, maybe 4 tiers of teams, and the Bengals are still in that lower tier.
Yeah.
And clearly the Steelers are in the top tier.
Right.
Right. So yeah, both on them Steelers.
Yeah, that's not gonna be a fun game to watch. It might be fun fantasy wise though. All righty, man.
Bing.
Let's see. Let's talk about Baltimore at New England. Baltimore comes in at 6-2. New England's 3-5. They've been struggling at the helm with Cam Newton. The Ravens are a 7-point favorite, and over under is 43.5 points. Pinhead, what's your take?
Well, my take is I think Baltimore's better.
No doubt.
And so, I like Baltimore.
It's just that easy, guys and girls, man. You heard it here first.
Well, I mean, don't you?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
No question.
Uh,
I think this is a game that's just like New Orleans gets to work some shit out. I think the Ravens will get to work some shit out, right? And get some game rep. Get young J.K. Dobbins into more of a role. It's be a good week to, try some different blocking schemes.
what was the over-under on this game?
40. I'm sorry, let me get back up. 40.
I don't think this game's going to be real high score.
43.5.
Belichick seems to do a pretty good job of not.
Well, we said that,
them get-
and then San Francisco ran the fucking gamut on them.
Yeah, well, that's true.
You know what I mean? And for the first time ever in history, we've heard Belichick give more than a one-word answer.
Right.
He's justifying why his team is so bad.
Right.
That's some shit we ain't heard in 20 years.
Yeah, well, it's a rebuilding.
They struggled
deal.
against the Jets.
Yeah, they did. Now you gotta like the Ravens in this game.
Yeah.
I think.
Absolutely. I like the Ravens to cover. The 43.5 points, I mean, you would have. Is New England able to score 10 points?
I don't
14
know.
points?
I just don't think I think that's too much, man. I like the under on that.
Yeah, I don't think New England is going to score enough to make it over. And I don't think Baltimore throws up more than 24, 30 points.
Yeah.
So I mean it'll be real close. If they threw up 30, I mean you still need 13.5 points from New England.
Right.
I don't know if they can get you that.
Yeah.
I love this under, actually. That might be a good bet this week. Great bet.
It sounds good to me.
All right.
Alrighty. Bing.
Okay. We got the Minnesota Vikings, who are 3-5. They're actually playing a lot better than their record indicates. They are a 3-point favorite on the road at Soldier Field. The 5-4 Bears are a lot worse than their record indicates.
Well, it seems, doesn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm gonna like the Vikings here. I just think what I've seen out of them the last few weeks has been better than what I've seen from the Bears. Certainly, the Bears seem to be sort of rudderless as far as where they're going in this thing.
Yeah.
Especially quarterback wise, it's not been good.
Well, and that's so confusing there. You've got running backs, right? I mean, you have them, right? You have them. I mean, like you have them, use them.
They don't use them.
I don't understand. I really don't understand. When we've seen Nick Foles at his best, his offensive coordinator has blessed him with the running game. Mm-hmm. And they're not doing that.
I was going to say, that's what Kirk Cousins got to be one of the happiest guys on earth right now. Just like, yeah, man, I can get this ball from this dude and turn around and hand it to this other dude.
Right.
Like mad. I'm real good at that.
Awesome at it.
Yeah.
Awesome
I rarely fumble.
Right.
Just it's on.
Well, and then I think when you run the ball well for quarterbacks like your Kirk Cousins, who has a freaking arm, a deep ball, he could throw a hell of a deep ball. So can Nick Foles. But I don't know if they're super duper accurate downfield. So the play action, when you run the ball, the play action becomes their friend, right? Because then their receiver can get a little space. And now they've got a lot of green to work with, opposed to tight windows.
Yes, I agree with you, man. The Vikings being able to run, just to me, that does it in this game. Their run game is better than anything that Chicago does, offensively or defensively.
By far.
So,
By far.
man, do you agree with me, man? We're going on the same road
here? Definitely.
Yeah, I feel good about that one. Again, it's the NFL, man, and Chicago's at home. You never know. But
and that was our Monday night game. Huh?
that was it?
That was our Monday night game. I'm
Holy
sorry.
mackerel.
Yeah, that was Monday night, man. Baltimore, New England was the Sunday night game.
13 games this week.
Yep.
That's what we had last week, so.
Yeah, I guess that works then, right?
Yeah. These are the heavy bye weeks.
Yeah. Yeah.
But they trickle on in. They're so weird this year. They go through week 11. There aren't any on week 12, and then there are some on week 13.
Yeah. Yeah.
That's never been before.
Well, you had to have.
Or in the last 20 years.
You had to have a beautiful mind to understand bye weeks this year.
Oh, yeah.
Because it's been, I hadn't been able to figure it out. I just kind of
I
get surprised every week.
I sort of half joked at the draft this year. Like, I knew I was going to have, when the schedule came out, a lot of my guys had week 8 buys. And so I was like, well, okay, I'll lose on week 8. And I ended up drafting a bunch of guys. I didn't reach for anybody because they had a week 8 buy.
It just worked out that way.
It was more that I didn't discount that. You know, generally sometimes if I've got 3 guys at a position that I know are great, then I'll just mark everybody else off of my list that has conflicting buys, you know, because that's all I really need you for.
Right.
But in this case, this year, I didn't mark anybody off. Ended up with Brandon Cooks, who's had some pretty good weeks for me, and he had the same buy. You know, and just ended up with some guys that, you know, it didn't really bother me. I think that's a cool strategy if you can pull it off at the draft, is to, you know.
Just go ahead and throw that one game.
Right. Instead of playing 4 games where you're somewhat depleted, you play 1 week where you lose, and then the rest you might win 2 out of those.
I think that is a really unique way to look at it.
But the thing is, you've got to do it.
You got to do it.
You got to do it because if you go in the draft with that as the idea and it fails, then you could be all wonky. But again, it's hard to do because you don't want to reach. What happened for me was I had a couple guys real early that I had way up there, and they had week 8 buys. And they fell to me, and I was happy to get them, you know, so it wasn't no thing like that. I didn't reach for anybody. It was guys that I wanted, you know, and I thought were of better value than a boatload of guys who had been picked already, you know. But so it's just a thing when you think about the scheduling. But you're right, this year with it all, even if you did it this year, it's wouldn't guaranteed to work out. None of my week 8 guys I was hoping one of them would get COVID and miss a game because I could have start Watson or I wouldn't have to start Phillip Rivers. I'd have won that fucking game that week if one of them had a game switched, you know. So, you know, it's just one of those things, man.
It is. It's been weird. Like I said, you had to have had a beautiful mind to understand what the hell was going to happen with this COVID, man. It's been a year like no other, man. And for that reason, you know, I think if you're right there on the cusp of your fantasy league, man, you have a chance. You know, I mean, you just do. It's been that kind of year. We know anything can happen.
Yeah, man,
you know,
we do.
We still don't have a president, so.
Yeah. I just wonder about other countries as they look at us like, this huge country waits with bated breath to see if the guy with 5 million more votes wins. You know, I know the other countries don't understand the electoral college and things like that. So, you know, there's people like, what in the hell?
Yeah, the people have spoken.
Right.
Clearly.
Right. But that's not how things work.
So, no, but comical it has been. I tell you, man, I've watched some great stuff on some late night shows, just their monologues, opening monologues about how embarrassing this thing is.
Oh, it really is, man.
Well, the good thing is, man, the world didn't end.
No?
We all woke up. It's been over a week now, and
yeah,
we didn't have any fires.
No.
Yeah, world kept turning.
Yeah,
people freaking out.
Y2K.
Yeah.
You know?
What a fucking mess this is, man. Well, everybody went out and did their thing. We had historical numbers and voters. You know, I think allowing the people to vote in circumstances where they weren't able to with the mail-in vote was a really cool idea. I know there might be some disagreement on that, but I think everybody should get an opportunity.
I think with a pandemic going on, it's a really smart idea.
I think it's a great, it's the idea, but I definitely don't think that should be discounted in the
by
future.
all accounts that I've heard, man, from people on both sides, elected people on both sides, that it was a unbelievably well run election. I mean, it just took a long time because these ballots came in from different areas, and at different times. So some states allowed their guys to start counting the early votes right when they got them. Some states did not. Some states did the day of first and then counted the mail-ins. I think going forward, maybe a federalized way or a suggested way from the federal government for each state to do it. Here's what we think would be a good plan. Because I know you still want to leave it up to the states. I mean, I think that's key. That's why we have states. That's why you can move. If you don't like this state, you can go somewhere else. But maybe just an example of, hey, how about we all try to do it like this? What do you guys think? And if they could get all of the states to ratify it, or enough of them, it would maybe legitimize this process that was so hard to understand and confused everybody. And added like a cloud of doubt because it was so different from what we'd done in the past. And each state did it differently.
Sure. That's very well said, man. I agree, man. Well, man, Pinhead over here dropping knowledge, man. We're about to get out of here, man. You got anything you want to add? Anything good on TV? How you been occupying your time, man? As we're about to turn back up, they say.
I know.
They say we're about to go. Hey, stop by the liquor store if you can.
Yeah.
Remember what happened last time?
Right.
Got crazy.
It did get crazy.
Yeah.
Yeah. We started watching 30 Rock.
Okay.
From the start. Yeah, it's funny. It gges better as it goes too. It's one of those where familiarity of the characters means a lot. It's why The Simpsons is so good. It's because everybody knows what the characters are after 30 years or whatever.
Yeah, I like Tracy Morgan in that show. He's
so funny.
God,
man.
he's
so
an
funny.
idiot, man.
He really is. Tina Fey's great.
She's awesome.
Yeah, I like the bald-headed guy that's sort of like her main assistant guy. That dude's funny as hell too, man. But it's a good show.
Awesome stuff, man. I watched Ted Lasso with Jason Sudeikis. He's a football coach from the Shockers, Wichita State.
Gotcha.
His first year as head coach, he won the national title. Right?
Wow.
I don't know how that would happen, but he did it. And to everybody's surprise, the Richmond Football Club soccer in the Premier League hired him to be their manager, and he took the job. So he's this Kentucky dude in England coaching soccer, and they're 30 minutes long. It's completely ridiculous, but a must watch.
It's called what?
Ted Lasso.
And it's on what service?
I watched it on Apple TV.
Gotcha.
So I'm sure you can find it somewhere. That's where I watched it at, though.
Gotcha, man.
Yeah. So, and then The Queen's Gambit, man, that's on Netflix. So check that out. That's pretty dope. It's about a female chess player in the 60s. So,
Did you ever watch? Did you ever get caught up with The Boys?
No, I still hadn't got caught up with The Boys, man.
It's shocking.
Yeah.
Dude, I'm telling you, how much do you have? How far back are you? Do you think?
How far back am I? What do you mean?
I mean,
I hadn't started the new season at all. No, I watched season 1. I just hadn't started it.
Yeah. The last episode is ridiculous. The season finale is just absolutely pandemonium.
Okay.
Dude, it's fantastic. Really, really good. I get highest recommendation.
Highest.
Up there with Squidbillies.
Okay.
Like, I'm sure you'll like it.
I'm sure I will too.
Yeah.
I like the first season. I just,
There's so much stuff.
I think the few times that I have had an opportunity to do it, when I go into a show, there's a feeling I have to have, right? And most likely it's going to be like a comedy. You know what I mean? Like just something I can just sit back, relax, and laugh to. And a lot of times I like them to be shorter. So it's been something I wanted to watch. I just ain't really had the mood, so to speak, to watch it, you know?
Yeah, it's not real funny.
No.
I mean,
it's dark fun. Dark. It's got like the dark, twisted shit about it. Yeah,
it does have that. But no, it's really more trying to project what if superheroes really existed and how people would try to profit from them and just all this. It's really interesting.
Yeah. No, it's definitely a dope concept. So I'm gonna check it out, man. It's definitely on my to do watch list, man. So, well, man, we're gonna get out of here, man. Download our podcast, subscribe, share it to some friends, man. You can email us at Reggie, Reggie Nobles and the Pinhead Podcast at Gmail. Find us on Facebook, Twitter, IG, wherever we're downloadable, wherever you can find a podcast. Calling the show. We talked about going live, so that might be coming up. We'll let you guys know when we decide to do that, man. But for the Pinhead, this is your boy Reggie Noble saying peace.
Cheers.
Salud.